Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Wednesday, hump day. It is Wednesday, April 5th, and my name is Alan. I want to welcome you to my Spiritual Growth Through Recovery podcast. The purpose of these videos is to grow my spirituality by following the Alcoholics Anonymous program of recovery. And I do that by being honest, vulnerable, and accountable, which is why I make the videos. I am not an expert in AA, spirituality, or recovery. I'm going to share my experience as I go on this journey of sobriety, just trying to live a better life. The recipe we follow is we read the daily reading out of the AA Daily Reflections book. Here. There's a link in the description if you want to follow along there. And I'll share my take on what jumped out to me and then share any other struggles, epiphanies, successes, those kind of things, whatever's my heart I'm struggling with. So, all right, let's get to work. Today's topic is true brotherhood and suffering. All right, April 5th. True brotherhood. We have not once sought to be one in a family, to be a friend among friends, to be a worker among workers, to be a useful member of society. Always we tried to struggle to the top of the heap or to hide underneath it. This self-centered behavior blocked a partnership relation with any one of those about us. Of true brotherhood, we had small comprehension. 12 Steps and 12 Traditions, page 53. This message contained in step 4 was the first one I heard loud and clear. I hadn't seen myself in print before. Prior to coming into AA, I knew of no place that could teach me how to become a person among persons. From my very first meeting, I saw people doing just that, and I wanted what they had. One of the reasons that I'm a happy, sober alcoholic today, is that I'm learning this most important lesson. All right. So what jumped out from this reading today? First one was we never wanted to be part of. I mean, friend among friends, worker among workers. We always try to struggle to the top. I always tried to fit in. Now I don't have to fit in. I can just be part of. I don't got to be up here and down here. The part about struggling to the top of the heap or hiding underneath. There's just no middle ground. It's extremes. Just because I don't feel good about myself, so if it's either here or it's here. Right? And then the self-centered behavior blocked a partnership. It's like another example where self blocks growth and spirit and relationships and joy. Self. That's the reoccurring theme that I'm seeing. And then of true brotherhood, we have small comprehension. What's real brotherhood? It exists. Having real friendships, real relationships where people genuinely care and they want really nothing from you. It exists. It's possible. So that's what I took from that reading today. The next thing I want to talk about was the idea of suffering. And how I got onto this topic was kind of doing some self-reflection, writing, journaling, kind of seeing where I'm at. I've kind of noticed how I'm constantly uncomfortable. I'm constantly complaining. I don't like things a lot. There's always some problem in my life, right? At the same time, I'm reading this book called Living Untethered. And if any of you heard of that, or the predecessor of the Untethered Soul, that Untethered Soul book changed my life. It kind of taught me how to step back and just observe, which has been a blessing kind of and a curse. But anyway, so as I'm reading this, I'm finding things that just jump out like, Jesus, that's me, right? So I wanted to read a few of these things just to kind of share what I'm experiencing here. So the first thing is, what's the definition of suffering? So the definition I found that I liked was to submit to or be forced to endure. The key there is forced to endure. I don't like this, but okay, I'm going to deal with it. When in reality, why does life have to be that way, right? Why does it have to be that way? So as I'm reading this I'm in chapter 17 of this book, and it talks about the foundational choice we have in life is either constantly control life to compensate for our blockages or things that are, getting us hung up, or devote our lives to getting rid of those blockages. So I don't know about you, but I constantly see me wanting to put all the pieces in place so I feel okay. If things aren't just perfect, I'm not okay, and I'm always unhappy with things, right? So that jumped out to me. And then the part where it says, there's this whole idea of looking at the world as this beautiful, special, cool place. And if you think about the world is cool, all the lakes and the mountains, and how do we get here, and all the blessings. And it's, instead of complaining, why can't we look at things as this really cool experience? I'd like to say I could do that. I don't. How about live in reality? Enjoy the moments that are unfolding right in front of you. Instead of complaining, just moment to moment, and just appreciate all the little things. Don't let the mind always be thinking about itself and what it wants. Learn to enjoy life as it is, instead of limiting the ways you can enjoy it to serve your past impressions. Just enjoy it. Just go with the flow and just enjoy the ride. I struggle with that. And I think it's part of the reason why I want to use drugs is to, because I try to force things to be a certain way, and I can't. The frustration just wants me to just check out. Next part is the self-centered mind is the worst. It is a model you build about how everything and everybody needs to be for you to feel okay. All right? Examples are like the weather. Right? If it's going to be sunny tomorrow, okay, I'm going to be happy. What does it matter? Another one is the car in front of you. I am a notorious impatient driver, so I'm always complaining because if they're not going above the speed limit, when it turns out the problem is not how the person in front of you is driving. The problem is what your mind is doing about how the person in front of you is driving. It's that whole perception. Why is this a problem? It's not a problem, but I make it to be a problem. Eventually you catch on that you've developed an entire intellectual model of how every single thing needs to be. How people should behave, how your spouse should be dressed when you're going out, even how much traffic there should be. How many things do we do this about? I am constantly complaining. And so the whole idea here is this leads to suffering, right? Forced to endure. My perception of things is in such a way that there's resistance to them. So then I'm forced to struggle my way through them. And that's not living, right? That's not a good way of life. Towards the end of this little chapter, he talks about how Buddha's first noble truth, all life is suffering. So the second noble truth is the cause of suffering is desire. What I think, what I want, how things should be, and if they're not, then they're suffering. And in one way, it's frustrating to be this way, but on the other part, I'm kind of glad I'm the problem, because then I can do something about it, and I'm not just powerless over it. So as much as it's like, God, I can't believe how much I'm like this, being aware of that, which was the book, first one of these books kind of taught me, just to be aware of those things. And then, okay, what do I do about it? So I'm really, I feel blessed to have that. Suffering is caused by the contrast between what you mentally decide you wanted and the reality unfolding in front of you. This is how it should be, and this is how it is, and there's that resistance to it. Just let it go, right? Just let it go and appreciate what we have around us. So I think the last thing is, I've seen this in AA meetings, is that pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. And the word that kind of jumped out there is acceptance. It's the way it is. Who's to say that my way has to be the right way? Just roll with it. So anyway, that's today's reading. Hope you took something from it. The value for me here is when I share this stuff, it penetrates a little deeper level, and maybe it'll mean something more to me. So that's why I do this. So anyway, I just want to encourage you to look at when things aren't going your way. I believe we can tell a lot about a person when things don't go their way. So how you react when things don't go your way, and just have to be that way. Accept it, let it go, move on. Anyway, hope you have a good day, and be back tomorrow. Peace out.